Tootie. Good morning. It's the last day of 2022. How do you feel about that? No comment? Okay. Good morning, friends, and welcome to day 31 of Vlogmas. Happy New Year's Eve. And it is day 6 of Kwanzaa. Today's principle is Kuumba, which means creativity. This is my favorite day of Kwanzaa, of course, being the maker that I am. But last night I didn't get to do the Kwanzaa moment last night either, because I got home pretty late from going to see the dazzling lights with my friend Tiffany. So tonight I will do yesterday's principle, which was Nia, which means purpose, and I'll do today. So double principle night. Boo, 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 boo. So I am headed to go pick up one of my college friends. She's in town briefly, and so she's going to come to church with us. Lamar already went to church because he's actually on the program today. So I'm going to go scoop her up, and then we're going to head over to the church. We'll probably, get some food afterwards, and then she's got to go to the airport. But, yeah. This December has been something else. I was looking at my time hop today, and it's one of those apps, if you don't know. It's one of those apps that goes through your social media history and pulls up posts from previous years on that day. And man, oh man, young Kalisha was not, she did not enjoy the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day thing. It seemed like at least for 5 years straight, at least, but it was probably definitely more. 5 years straight, I was always going through something super emotional during the transition from one year to the other. So all of my posts for New Year's into New Year's Day were just weepy. And because I know that has been my past experience, I'm always very conscious of my feelings and emotions and the energy that I bring into the day, especially on New Year's Eve, because I want to counteract that. I feel like in the scales of my life, I have had more negative feeling transitions into New Year than I have had positive ones. And it's probably just a memory thing. I'm sure that I've had more better New Year's than I've had, bad ones. But, the negative memories tend to weigh more, weigh more mentally. So I am very conscious of that. So as an adult, I try to be intentional about celebrating the new year, bringing in the new year, the things I choose to do during New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. I try to pull my family unit together as much as possible, and just be with my loved ones as the new year comes in. And to say that I am so sad is a gross understatement. But I am so sad that Kiva won't be with us, you know, to bring in the new year. But as you saw in yesterday's video, we picked up her remains, and they're in a beautiful box. I have to get a nameplate for it, so it's not just some random wood box on the shelf. I want to get a nameplate for it, and I also want to make a shadow box, memory box type thing, and I think maybe that's what I'll work on tonight. So tonight, as we are bringing in the new year, you know, that way Kiva can still be with us, you know? So I was looking at the comments on some previous videos, and someone asked me how I'm doing with my sadness about Kiva, and it comes and goes. Well, okay, not it comes and goes, because that is like it's there and then sometimes it's not. It's like it rises and falls. And I was talking to one of my friends yesterday saying, like, this is my first time dealing with the loss of someone immediate, you know, meaning like someone who is normally with me all the time. You know, I have, you know, lost friends, in-laws, family members, you know, things like that, but they have always been someone who lived apart from me, you know, and not just like, you know, like, oh, they live in the same town down the street or something like that, like in different states. So I didn't feel the absence of them, if that makes sense. So this is my first time experiencing a loss where the absence of that being or that individual is immediately apparent. And that has been weird. It has made the mornings extremely difficult. Interestingly enough, today was the first morning that felt okay. Like every morning last week when I would wake up, I had this weird feeling, because I still can't put my finger on exactly what it is. And like I was talking to Lamar about it, and he was saying that is you daily coming to the realization that Kiva is not here. And she didn't sleep in the bed because she was too old, couldn't get up on the bed. So, you know, her bed, her little bed was on the floor. So I never really woke up with her right there, you know. But I would wake up knowing that she was under the bed, or that she was walking around somewhere, you know, doing her little Kiva thing. But this week, every day I would wake up and, you know, like realize again that she's not there. And that's garbage. Don't like it, don't recommend, 0 out of 10. But yeah. So today, I don't know, maybe it was that conversation with Lamar, with like identifying what that feeling is, but I woke up feeling like, okay. And like, I don't know, sorry, I'm driving and this person ahead of me is driving like they have no idea what they're doing. I don't know if it could also have something to do with us bringing her remains back to the house, that, you know, subconsciously I might feel like she's home. If that makes any sense. Dude, I don't know. I'm doing all of this for the first time. And, yeah. So all that to say, how am I dealing with my sadness about Kiva? I'm still sad. I still miss her. But I am yet pressing on. Yesterday after we picked her up, we were driving in the car, and Lamar asked me, like, what were my favorite things about Kiva? Like, what are some of my favorite memories? And so we just kind of started going back and forth with, like, our favorite things about Kiva, and, like, the things that she did, and the weird things about her. And he commented that it's such a blessing that she was in our lives, because she is, like, I can't remember a time where I was, like, legitimately mad at her, or like that she was a bad dog, you know? Like, she was so chill. So chill. So we were just able to have that, you know, that moment where we were just remembering her and talking about her, and it was so good, you know? It was very good, and I'm glad that we got to do that. Is this where I'm supposed to turn? I don't think so. But to all the folks who are out here in these New Year's streets missing people, for the sake of all of us, I hope it gets better. All right, friends, I will talk to you later.
That light didn't do nothing anyway.
Oh, you gotta use these lights. No. Oh, you're so extra. Hi, friends.
What's up?
Happy New Year's Eve. And Happy New Year's when you see this tomorrow. Today.
Happy New Year.
Let's do the wave. Oh, you did your hands separately. I wasn't ready.
I was just reacting to the fireworks that were going on.
Yes. We went out to eat, and it was delightful.
Shout out to Melanie.
I love how you're shouting out people who 100% will never see this video.
You never
like,
know. You'd be surprised. What if one day, what if she's a crocheter and then just didn't, you know, or whatever. Somehow somebody referred her to your podcast, your vlog, your YouTube channel, your Instagram. Who knows? And it's like, oh, I remember them. I was their server. And then she happens to tune into this particular episode and hear us shouting her out.
All right. I guess stranger things have happened.
We've been walking around the store and people keep saying, Kalisha, and like random strangers that knew you, and knew who I was, which is kind of weird. You know, hey, look at that. Fireworks.
Oh. Well, we are driving the long way home. We went to Cheddar's. We have so much food in these takeout boxes. We went there for dessert. We dropped our friend off at the airport. And we were like, you know what? We just finished eating dinner at a church member's house. You know what we should do? We should go to Cheddar's and get some chocolate cake. And we were like, yeah, we're going to go to Cheddar's and we're only going to order chocolate cake. We're going to go in there and sit down and be like, you know what? I want food. I'm just ordering dessert because I'm an adult and I can do that.
I actually wanted to get a bowl of soup.
Yeah. Then he wanted to get soup. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll just get salad. And then it just escalated from there.
We had a table full of food.
We had a table full of food somehow.
And no room in our bellies to eat any of it.
Did we eat any cake? No.
But I did eat a baked potato.
Yeah.
And some corn.
I ate the salad. It was good. It was very good. I wasn't prepared for how good the salad was.
And the honey butter croissants, because you know.
Yeah. They're always good. But so now we're headed home, and what are we gonna do? You want to watch a movie? Oh. Well.
What's the
he's gonna go to sleep.
It's after 8.
8 o'clock.
It's after 8. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You sure you still want to go out? No, we can still go out if you want to. It's after 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, so then he'll be going to sleep when we get home, and I will be knitting because your girl finished the stockinette part of the sleeve on my sweater. Hi, friends. So I have a guest for tonight's Kwanzaa chat, and we are catching up. We're going to talk about day 5 and day 6. Not the slider. Oh. The fan said. It was like, no. One. Come on, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. I'm getting so bad at these. Okay. So, day 5, the principle is Nia, which means purpose. And this says, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Thoughts? I like having someone else here so that I don't have to just be all my thoughts all the time.
So, in a fairly simple way, just think of purpose in this context. I think of it just basically meaning that whatever we do, specifically it says vocation, but whatever we do, whatever activities we do, whether they're social, they're economic, they're spiritual, whatever the case may be, that we think of the purposefulness, for lack of a more simple word, of those choices and those activities that we participate in, that we do, and that they be things that are edifying or uplifting to our community. It's really easy to get caught up, especially in the world we live in now, with choosing to participate in activities or to do things that may provide some temporary satisfaction or some entertainment value, whatever the case may be, but they are leeches of our energy and our time, so that way when we finish those things, we have nothing left that will uplift and build, and they kind of become passing things that in the moment, all right, cool, whatever, but then when it's done, there's nothing good in the long term that comes out of it. But instead, when we choose to do activities and participate in things in our work, etc., that not only helps us in that particular thing in the moment or whatever, but also is something that's beneficial to our community. That collectiveness, that collective thinking in terms of, okay, my purpose in the things that I do are to benefit not just myself. It makes us grow and build. And when it talks about those things being done in order to restore people to their traditional greatness, I think that's the big principle, is that the traditional greatness I think of when I think of specifically African Americans, but people of any culture or community, is how they work together to make themselves great. They're not dependent on something, some other thing uplifting them. It is simply, we are going to enhance ourselves and make our community uplift through our actions and the choices that we make. And I think we have a long legacy and history of that in the African American community, because that was necessary. Like, it was out of necessity. You have no option. You have to do the things to make your first thing, to make your culture and community survive, and then to play a big enough and significant enough role. And if we want to go back through slavery, through now the Civil War, there were those who would look at it and be, oh, the Civil War is fine, these people did stuff to free. But like, no, the reality is most abolitionists, for example, were actually formerly enslaved or freed Black people. So there was a effort in their actions to free themselves. Yes, there were many white abolitionists, there were many other people that also contributed, but there was a deliberate, purposeful choices were being made to make sure that you could uplift yourself and your people. And you continue down throughout history, through Reconstruction, through Jim Crow, through the Civil Rights period. It's consistently been that the people we look up to and we honor as mostly ancestors now, but some still alive, because stuff wasn't that long ago. Those people that we look up as leaders, they weren't leaders just because. They're leaders because they made purposeful choices in what they did, in a way to make sure that they were providing for the community and making their community better, and trying to lift them to that place where they can be like, this is what's in us as a people, and we want to try to build ourselves back up to that thing. So when I think of Nia and purpose, I think of that. My personal challenge to that is to continue in the avenues that I am in as a teacher, to do things and make choices in how I operate as a teacher, as a coach, in my roles at church, as a husband, as a member of the community, to likewise do things that will not just benefit me, but that will be beneficial to the kids I interact with and the people that the circle of influence I have, to uplift the community. I have a specific instance of that we'll share about later, though.
Oh, we're still talking about purpose. You can talk about that.
Okay. So, an example, I have set as a goal this year, we started planning last year in the African American history class that I teach, to expose the kids beyond just simply, researching and reading and sharing and talking in school. And so put together and planned a trip called the Survivors to Scholars Tour, where my students this spring will be taking a trip that is not just a field trip. It's not just, let's go to Universal Studios and ride some roller coasters. It's not just, let's get out of school for a day and go to a museum and stop at McDonald's on the way back, that kind of thing, like all of us used to look forward to when we were little.
Yeah.
This is a trip with the purpose of enhancing and expanding on what we've learned in class, while also preparing them for what they can be. So it's become both a trip studying and examining things in history, but also preparing them by giving them the opportunity to visit and tour various colleges. So this tour will be taking place this spring break. The kids will have the opportunities to go and visit various museums, like the International African American Museum that's going to be opening in South Carolina this 2023. They will be able to visit former slave cemetery, Civil Rights Museum, Kelly Park, and some locations and places where historical events happen, like the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. And at the same time, while on this tour, they'll also have the opportunity to visit a number of different colleges. We're specifically going to be focusing on HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. So in the Atlanta City Center, potentially Nashville, Huntsville, Birmingham, and Montgomery, a number of schools there. I could list them all, but some of these plans are still tentative in terms of finalizing those things. But we'll be doing that this spring. And the big challenge is in doing it, raising the funds to be able to allow all of the students that want to go the opportunity to go, and not have anybody miss out and lose out on the opportunity because they can't afford to pay out of pocket. So we're doing fundraising. We're trying to raise money, but we are looking for sponsors to help. If you are willing to jump in and help sponsor a student, we will share the QR code. Goes directly to our school website and the donation
I can just
site.
put the link. I'll put a link
That
in the
makes more
down
sense.
bar. Yeah. So if you want to contribute, you can follow that link.
You can follow it and you can share. We'll have information. I'll share the brochure that I put together with more information, more details, that anybody that's curious to know more about what the plan is, they can know. But again, any donations will go directly to the school website, and you can receive a receipt for tax purposes or whatever. And if you would like to, we are going to be working to putting together a mini documentary after we come back, and some other follow-up activities, and we'll acknowledge all of our contributors, all our sponsors and donors at that time. But that's just an example for me of going into 2023. I've been working on this now since last year, but in the vein of being purposeful and reflecting on what Nia means, the choices we make, even as a teacher, what I do in my everyday class, as a coach, how I interact with my players, and in this particular instance, as I'm planning this trip, that it's not just another thing. It's not just a spring break trip. Let's go have some fun. Yeah, we're going to try to make sure they have fun and enjoy their spring break, but we're trying to make sure that this is an opportunity that they can not only do that, but at the same time, they can learn, and they can also be doing things that will help them take steps towards their future. So,
opportunities for growth.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
that was a lot. I ain't even
Y'all-
talk that long. I know that's 11 minutes, or 10 minutes, but
one of the things I really appreciate about this guy is how he's always making plans and laying out things that he wants to do that will benefit his students. And if he's not doing something like that, he is, interacting with them in a way that makes them feel like Mr. Ryan is somebody that I can go to and talk to if I'm feeling a certain kind of way, if I'm feeling upset or anything like that. Like, I really because I remember high school Kalisha, I'm like, these students though, they got a good one. They got a good teacher here. So I'm glad that he walks in that purpose. And I'm really proud of you with that.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hopefully get these kids to learn a little math too, because I primarily teach math, so that is a whole nother thing.
Well,
got to make them understand the purpose of geometry.
So, I see what you did there. The purpose of geometry.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to be creative and find ways to help them learn. Yeah. Which leads us, you like that transition?
That was beautiful.
Principle 6, Kuumba, which means creativity. And it says to always do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it.
I was enjoying being the co-host.
But you're the creative one, so it kind of flows in your wheelhouse. I'm creative too, though.
Yes, you are. You read another interpretation of Kuumba, and I really like that one too.
This is the one that I shared on my Instagram. Let me shadow. And it says, through creative acts, both original and restorative, each generation can make the community more beautiful.
I like that. Whenever I'm creating or whenever I'm making things or sharing things or putting stuff out on the internet, I always want to, as much as I can, be a bright spot. But I want desperately to be a bright spot in the world, because I know that out there is rough. I know that out there can be a very dark place. And I think that wherever I can, if I can just be a little bit of brightness for somebody, then that is a good thing for Kalisha to be, you know, because sometimes I wonder, you know, what is Kalisha for? You know how we always have those moments like, what is my purpose here on earth? You know, and whenever I, you know, have a conversation with someone and they share with me something that I did that brightened their day or something like that, it just makes me feel like this is a good thing, you know? So through my creativity, I am always looking for ways to do something that will make someone else smile or that will bring light to someone else. So I think that that is the function of like my Kuumba energy, like the ways that I'm making my community brighter or more beautiful than I inherited it, is to make sure that the space that I'm in, I'm able to bring light to that space. And like, I mean, you can't appreciate anything without light. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking, you know, in the space of Kuumba this year. And I want to continue in that. I think that that is a good place for me. That is a good headspace to put myself in, especially as someone who is not always as bright as I want to be. Sometimes when I do have my like downswings and stuff like that, even in the midst of them, I am still able to find that little bit of not energy, but that little bit of desire to want to bring somebody else up, which is interesting because I have a very difficult time doing that for myself. So maybe in this year, my Kuumba energy can be aimed at me, you know, just like when I was talking about the collective work and responsibility, and I was speaking about how, you know, taking responsibility or taking ownership of a situation gives you that, you know, that desire to want to help somebody else, but you also have to be conscious of how it affects you. You know, the same thing with me wanting to be a light to other people. I need to also put that same amount of energy into lighting myself. And I think that's an interesting thought that I don't think I've ever thought before. So thank you all for being here for that epiphany. So wish me luck as I try to figure out how to do that. You know what I mean? Did that make any sense?
It made me think of the thing you were sharing with me earlier with the person who was talking about how people make vision boards often, and they oftentimes are looking at the vision boards about things outside that they want, and his was about his vision board basically being about him. And that also parallels with another friend of ours who was talking about going into the new year. You know, sometimes we can show gratitude and love and appreciation for others. And she wanted to go into New Year with this focus on taking some time to do those things for yourself. She was like, the assignment was to write a letter to yourself, just showing yourself or telling yourself and being appreciative of the things that you have done or you've overcome, etc. I don't know why that came to mind initially, but in terms of, you know, doing things for yourself in the same vein that we're talking about for your community, because I think that's important. There's a reason why in airplanes they say put the mask on yourself first, because if we're not doing those things to help ourselves, then how do you pour into others?
Yeah.
You know, you can't pour into somebody else from an empty vessel.
Yeah.
So taking those different examples I just gave, small examples, and I didn't flesh them out really fully, but whatever you personally do or can do to make sure that you are doing for yourself will then give you that ability to then do for others. you know, that creative energy when you do things that make you happy. So Kalisha, when she's crocheting and knitting, she doesn't crochet and knit and, you know, do those kind of creative things for other people very often. A lot of times it's for the things for herself, because it gives her a sense of satisfaction, a sense of calmness and comfort. And those things are important, because now when you do want to pour into somebody else, you have the energy and you have the wherewithal to do that. So I would encourage everybody watching, listening in the same vein, you know, I love that she always talks about Bright in the Corner, because there's a song we grew up hearing, Bright in the Corner Where You Are. And part of that is making sure that you have a light to share. If you want to use the candle analogy, your candle has to be lit, and when your candle is lit, you can use your candle to light other people's candles. So you have to allow yourself to have those moments of whether it's through in this, you know, specific context, creativity, or whatever the case may be, to build yourself up and express those things and practice those things. And then you're able to transfer that into others, and you're able to allow other people to benefit from what you're putting out there into the universe.
One thing that made me think of just now, when you were talking about you can't pour from an empty cup, all of the principles of Kwanzaa are meant to give ways to build up the Black community, right? But the community is made of people. And so these principles, by logic, can also be used to build up a person. So what if in this coming year, I look at these principles as and turn them inward? You know what I mean? Because like a lot of times I'm like, okay, so we have the principle of umoja, you know, that unity. Like, how can I bring my family together? How can I bring these communities together? What can I do? And it's a lot of reaching out energy, you know, but what can I do to bring myself together, you know, as a person who has a lot of highs and lows? What can I do to bring those together? Does that make sense?
I was thinking of it from the perspective, we all have different areas of our lives, and a lot of us have learned because of necessity how to compartmentalize things. Like, so you have your work, your personal life, your spiritual life, you know, your social life. All of them are separate completely. And if it's possible to find a way to bring at least elements of those things together, so that you can be a more cohesive person and not feel like you're always being pulled left, right, and, you know, one way or another. And there's a sense in terms of that specific principle, it may be more of a thing of balance. Like finding balance is doing that. I know for me, Kalisha could tell you, I work a lot. I don't always feel like I'm working a lot, because like coaching, for example, is work. I get paid to do it. It is part of a job, but it's something I really love to do. I stay engaged with sports. I stay engaged with the kids. And although it's something I enjoy, it is still part of my work day, and it takes up a lot of my time outside of my regular teaching schedule. So as a result, I end up putting so much time and effort into that, then I don't have much time for actual regular social stuff and social activities for myself, whether it's spending time with Kalisha or just doing something for myself. So by the time I finish my regular work and then do that, technically I've basically been working all day. I can easily work, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, multiple times during the week. And then, you know, doing other things, whether it's just a regular schedule or going to work at, you know, the restaurant or whatever the case may be, that puts me out of balance. And so for me, finding a better balance of my work, social, personal life, and being able to also incorporate my spiritual life, not just through periodic moments, but actually deliberate time that's spent in that balance, I think would be kind of what I'm in the principle of pulling yourself together, being in a personal way, unifying all the elements of my life, so that way I can be a more complete, more holistic person. I'm sure every principle we could probably go through and break it down like that, and it makes sense. So it does give you an opportunity to grow as a person, and still in that growth be able to now give more to the community. Well, not necessarily more.
Not give more, but be more impactful in your community.
Right. And I love that idea because there's a book I read years ago called Do Hard Things. And the big principle on that was about sometimes we get so caught up in doing the big thing, but instead of thinking about doing the big thing, the world-changing thing, sometimes just doing whatever the thing is that you can do in such a way that it causes a big impact. So I may not do something that affects 50,000 people. Maybe what I do only impacts 5 people. But for those 5 people, that thing that I do, make it big. Make it a big, significant impact. And that doesn't mean spend money. It just means be impactful. Be, deliberate and significant. That's the best word. Right. I'm antsy.
Good talk. Good talk. I enjoyed that. That was 26 minutes of Kwanzaa chat. I didn't think it was going to be that long. So
I'm sorry. I'm wordy.
He is quite wordy.
But hopefully they're good words.
They are good words. I appreciate, everything that you brought today. They're fireworks and car alarms are happening outside. But I'm going to go ahead and blow the candles out, and I will show you all the yarn from my Kwanzaa box. So I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve. Have a beautiful start to 2023.
I would simply say I pray that each person watching or listening has a blessed and prosperous New Year. Be blessed in your coming and your going, and that you will be blessed for a healthy year, a happy year, and whatever turmoil and trials come your way, you'll be able to navigate through those things, not as obstacles, but as stepping stones to something greater. Whether that greater thing is something you are aware of or not, you can still navigate through knowing that whatever it may be, it can be something. It doesn't have to, but it can be if you choose to make it something that will take you to higher heights as you go into this new year, and then hopefully the years to come.
That was a nice blessing. Happy New Year! Happy New Year from Quirky Monday family.
Happy New Year.
She said, "Can I go back to sleep now?"